Afternoon, everybody. It's a wonderful Sunday here in Georgia, and my dog that you've all seen floating around the videos is over eating some food. And I want to talk about range today. This was brought up in a conversation between myself and one of my favorite Marines out there. You know who you are, Bill. So let's talk about range. We have three basic ranges that we deal with in just about every form of martial art. There is a fourth range, but most people consider the third and the fourth to be the same, but I personally don't. I believe that very strongly that there's a difference. The first thing we need to really understand about range is range has to do with a number of things. Starting with the most basic thing it has to do with is your reach, your body. So the general rule of thumb with range and your reach is you can only reach as tall as you are, arm to arm. All right, your wingspan. That's what your range is. But that changes because we're tool using monkeys, and now we add the additional length of a weapon. So in the Filipino martial arts, we refer to three ranges, as I stated earlier. We have largo mano, that's the long range. We have medio, which is the middle ground. Also what I like to call the transitional range. And then we have corto, which is up close. Now, I say there's a fourth range, and let's call that grappling distance. All right, so what is largo mano? Rule of thumb for largo mano is that you are far enough away from your opponent that if you are fighting and you reach out, you can hit their hand if they reach out. That's largo mano. We're playing at the extreme ranges of our weapons, so that if we want to cheat it, we'll lean a little forward to hit our target. Next we have medio, the medium range. That's right about here. Now, if I want to hit you in the head, I don't have to step forward. Maybe a slight lean, but I can drop that weapon anywhere into your body. That is, we could both hit each other. Then corto range is, you'll hear it called trapping range, hand range, close quarters range. But the big thing about that is we're here. We're in close. We don't have to move and do a lot of drastic things to be able to reach out and get to our opponent. So here we are in corto, here we are in medio, and now here we are in largo. Each one of these ranges, we tend to focus on different things. At largo range, we tend to have what I like to call sniper's duels. We're throwing shots at each other's hands. We're hoping for somebody to overcommit so that we can close the distance and really lay some power in. Now, the medio range, this is where all your things like hubud, your checking hands, all of that comes into play, because we're starting to stop worrying about the length and reach of the weapon, because we're now close enough that we can touch their arms, their hands, and what we can look for is the ability to grab something and from here take control and hit. Now when we get into corto range, we're not quite at grappling range yet. We're here. This is that range that is almost grappling, but not quite. And if you do something like an arm drag, you're now in grappling range, where we're basically touching each other. You'll even see, if you look at like some weak half tournaments, those kinds of things, guys will get right up in here. So each range has a different tactic. I'm not going to go into specifics on grappling because, well, number one, I don't have anybody here to grapple with. And really, we're talking about weapons when you're dealing with my stuff. So, Largo, long range. Hitting those hands, hitting those extremities. If the other guy's stupid and leans too far forward, maybe you can tag that head. Midea Range. We're in that middle transition ground. And this is one of the most important ranges to pay attention to because this is where everybody dies. This is the hardest range to protect yourself in. At this range, it's easy to step completely back, step off to the side, step off to the side, get out of the way of whatever's coming in at you. But this little difference of essentially one step changes that dynamic completely. And now we have to really rely on our blocking skills and our checking skills and thinking ahead of our opponent and moving to their sides so that we can really get in there and hit what we need to hit. Once you get into Corto range, we start thinking about the butts of the weapons, the puño, elbows, weapons, knees, whatever you need, because you're still close enough. A lot of really nice low kicks, things you can do in this range that you can't do really at the Midea range because too much space, easy to see. But once we're here, those low kicks and strikes almost vanish from your vision. But remember, don't get too comfortable that this is my medio, or this is my largo mano, this is my medio, this is my corto, because the weapons change. And if we put the stick down and we take out a knife, now this is largo mano, because I don't really have that much more of a length. But if we want to go a little crazy, now this is my largo range. Very, very different. And still, even from here, with one step, you can be hitting the head. So think about these ideas with range. This isn't really about a fighting technique per se, but understanding distance and space, understanding how it changes, and understanding that at each distance we have to approach the fight from a different standpoint. At long range, our first goal is simply to hit whatever comes closest to us. Usually that's going to be the hand or the arm. At this middle range, we really start thinking about hitting legs. At the Corto range, you have to change how you throw your shots. You have to change from long arcs like so to much tighter cuts. And here, we have to think about hitting them behind their back or on their offsides. So, y'all have fun.